Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to tackle one of the absolute biggest headaches in building AI systems, how to make them actually work when you go from a tiny prototype to a massive real-world scale.
So, story, once upon a time, you've got this brilliant AI prototype. With 5 agents, it's a work of art, a masterpiece, running flawlessly. But then comes the big day, you scale it up to 500 agents, and bam! The whole thing just grinds to a halt. Communication lines get flooded, agents start tripping over each other, and the entire system crashes. A total digital traffic jam.
Sound familiar? Yeah, it's the classic scaling nightmare. But here's the good news. Turning that nightmare into a blueprint for success is exactly what we're here to do. We're going to break down why this happens and then build a system that's truly ready for prime time. So level up, study buddy. Let's build. All right, first things first, we have to properly diagnose the problem. Why do so many promising AI systems just completely collapse under pressure? Let's dig into the anatomy of this, the great scaling crash. You see, scaling is the ultimate stress test. It's the moment of truth. And if your system wasn't designed for it from the get-go, it's really just a house of cards, isn't it? Just waiting for that first big gust of real-world traffic to come tumbling down. So what exactly is making this foundation so weak? Well, the main culprit is something called tightly coupled dependencies. And look, that's just a fancy way of saying all your agents are basically holding hands. If one agent slows down or gets stuck or makes a mistake, it yanks everyone else down with it. It creates this catastrophic chain reaction. It's not a team, it's a domino rally just waiting to be tipped over. So this brings us to the core conflict right here. On one side, you've got the old way of doing things, these monolithic scripts where all the logic is tangled up in one giant file. It's a bottleneck just waiting to happen, and it's a pain to update. But on the other side is where we want to be, a distributed workforce of independent, specialized agents. This isn't just a different way of thinking, it is the only way to build systems that are tough, scalable, and actually manageable. Okay, we've picked apart the problem. Now for the fun part, the solution. If you want to build for growth, you have to start with a modular approach. It's how we're going to build a much, much stronger foundation. And this whole solution really rests on 3 super powerful pillars. First up, modular agents. Seriously, think of them like Lego bricks that you can snap together in all sorts of new ways. Second, a stateless design. This is so important. It means agents don't hang on to old information from past jobs. Why does that matter? Because it stops them from making decisions on outdated data that could crash into what another agent is doing right now. And third, containerized environments. Think Docker, which give each agent its own little isolated sandbox to play in. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. Check this out. As the number of agents skyrockets from 5 all the way up to 500, look at what happens to the system's latency. Absolutely nothing. It stays flat. Your performance remains totally rock solid. That is the power of a modular, distributed design. It just works. Okay, so we have hundreds of these awesome, independent agents. Fantastic. But how do we stop it from becoming total chaos? Well, you need a blueprint for order. And that's exactly where hierarchical coordination comes into play. This right here is the key insight. True scalability isn't about just throwing more agents at a problem. That's a rookie mistake. It's about intelligently organizing them. You've got to add structure, not just more numbers. Now, the most effective structure is usually a pretty simple hierarchy. At the very top, you have a planner agent. Its only job is to look at the big picture, figure out the strategy, and set the goals. Then it delegates specific, independent tasks down to an army of worker agents who can just focus on getting their one job done perfectly. Simple and clean. Now, I know this all might sound a little bit abstract, but I've got the perfect analogy to make it all just click. Let's think for a second about how a high-end professional kitchen operates under pressure. It's simple, right? A single chef can probably handle a small dinner party, no problem. But if you want to serve a whole stadium full of people, you can't just have one person running around like crazy. You need a highly organized system with specialized stations and a clear chain of command. And look at the direct parallels here. The executive chef, that's your planner agent calling the shots. The grill station, doing all that intense work, that's like your data processing worker. The prep station, getting all the ingredients ready, that's your information gathering worker. And the plating station, making it all look pretty at the end, that's the agent formatting your final output.
Each one has a single job, and they do it without getting in each other's way.
So let's make this real for you. I want you to think about your own project right now. If you had to jump from 10 agents to 100 agents tomorrow, what specific tasks would you break apart and delegate? Where are your potential bottlenecks hiding? This is the kind of planning that builds systems that actually last.
So, here's the big takeaway from all this. To get real reliability at scale, you have to fundamentally shift your thinking. You have to move away from those fragile, monolithic scripts and toward a distributed, resilient, and even self-healing workforce of specialized AI agents. That's how you go from a digital traffic jam to a superhighway of pure efficiency. If this helped you level up your thinking, do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to StudyBuddy with Notebook LM. Stay agentic.